our live stream video broadcast. Before Commissioner Chico starts the business portion of this meeting, I have a few announcements regarding our committee and board meetings. To protect the public's health in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and in compliance with the Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 120/7, commissioners will participate at this meeting by video conference. Members of the public are unable to attend this meeting in person due to the February 5th, 2021 gubernatorial disaster proclamation, which declares the public health concerns render in-person attendance of more than 10 people not feasible for purposes of the Open Meetings Act. We are therefore proceeding with today's meetings in compliance with these orders. If this is the first time that you are joining us via live stream, we have returned to our committee meetings format where board items will first be presented for discussion and vote to the Finance and Audit and Real Estate Operations Development Committees. There is no Tenant Services Committee meeting scheduled for today. Items will then move from committee to the full board for approval. As a reminder, our public commentary sessions for committee and board meetings allow guests to speak during our live stream broadcast. You are required, however, to register in advance, one business day before the scheduled meeting. The board secretary will contact each registered participant at the telephone number provided and give instructions to access the meeting. A copy of the instructions was sent to the resident leadership together with the March meeting notice. You are encouraged to visit the CHA website or call the board office at 312-913-7282 to familiarize yourself with the process. We will now proceed with our regularly noticed up meetings, and I will turn over the virtual gavel to Commissioner Craig Chico.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Madam Chair, and the rest of my colleagues and everyone on the line. Welcome to the March 16th Finance and Audit Committee meeting. My name is Craig Chico, Chairman of the Finance and Audit Committee. I will call today's meeting to order. The Board Secretary will call the roll to establish a quorum. Lee?
Good morning again, Commissioners. Commissioner Hart?
Here.
Commissioner Tanukas? Commissioner Tanukas?
Here.
Commissioner Washington?
Here.
Commissioner Chico?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Lee. Let the record reflect that Chairperson Herlock and Commissioners Brewer, Harris, Matanke, and Parker are also in attendance, but not counted for the quorum. To protect the public's health in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and in compliance with the Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 120/7, an executive orders previously stated by Chair Herlock, commissioners will participate at this meeting by video conference. Accordingly, I would like to present a motion pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/7 to hold the March 16th Finance and Audit Committee meeting by remote means. May I have a second? May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed votes, abstentions, or recusals? Hearing none, the motion carries. We will proceed with today's meeting in compliance with previously stated orders. First voting matter today is the minutes for the regular and closed meetings of the Finance and Audit Committee meetings of January 19th, 2021. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. 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 Are there any opposed votes, abstentions, or recusals? Hearing none, the motion carries, and the January 19, 2021 meeting minutes are approved as submitted. We will now move on with the presentation of items on our agenda. As a reminder, comments from the public will be entertained after presentation by staff and discussion by commissioners. Items will be voted upon after public participation. We have 3 items for consideration today by the Finance and Audit Committee. Item number 1 reads as follows. Recommendation to accept and submit to HUD the FY 2020 Moving to Work Annual Report. The item will be presented by Jenny Hoyle, Deputy Chief, Strategic Management and Partnership. Jenny?
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm seeking approval of the 2020 MTW Annual Report and authorization to submit the report to HUD. The annual report provides year-end information regarding CHA's operations, development activity, and finances, as well as data regarding CHA's MTW activities, use of single fund flexibility, and compliance with the statutory requirements of the program. The content and organization of the report are determined by HUD. Highlights of the 2020 report include the delivery of 204 housing units through mixed income development and project-based vouchers, redevelopment activity at sites including Cabrini, Ickes, LeClaire, Lathrop, and Roosevelt Square that will lead to unit delivery in future years, and more than $130 million in capital expenditures at properties across the portfolio. CHA continued to administer 26 MTW activities designed to increase resident self-sufficiency, create efficiencies and cost savings in our operations, and expand housing options. CHA also used its single fund flexibility to administer a variety of resident services programs designed to increase resident self-sufficiency. CHA substantially met or exceeded most of its goals for the MTW activities and resident services programs, despite limitations imposed by the pandemic in 2020. CHA continues to satisfy the statutory requirements of the MTW program by serving a largely low to very low income population and serving the mix of family sizes in substantially the same number of families as we would be serving if we weren't an MTW agency. I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jenny. I know everyone received the entire report days or weeks ago, and we've been briefed considerably in our briefings, but please feel free to present any questions, commissioners. Are there any other questions by commissioners or comments? Going once. Okay, I hear none. I think that we'll move on then. Jenny, thank you very much for your report.
Thank you.
Item number 2, the authorization to amend the professional services agreement with CSG Advisors, Inc., management advisory and consulting services in the not to exceed amount of $750,000. This item will be presented by Mike Rigoni, Chief Investment Officer. Michael.
Good morning, commissioners. This board action, we are recommending that the board amend the professional service agreement with CSG Advisors for management advisory and consulting services. This action will result in an increase of the contract of not to exceed $750,000 with a 1-year extension of term to September 30th, 2022. CSG is the preeminent advisory firm in the public housing space and has worked with over 40 housing authorities as well as 29 state housing development agencies and/or commissions. We initially contracted with CSG with the initial work scope revolving around organizational effectiveness and strategy and planning. We are near completion of those tasks, which have resulted in a number of recommendations, which has been reviewed by your leadership team. We are now seeking assistance in the implementation and execution of these best practices, which will revolve around revenue generation through creation of a local asset management model and more effective financial RAD toolkits and partnering within the development space, and additionally performance management tools for monitoring dashboards around work in process to expand and enhance our operational financial activities. I recommend approval as I feel this is the best interest of the authority and reflects new leadership desire as we move from good to great. Are there any questions?
Commissioners? Questions?
Yes.
Commissioner Washington?
Mike, they're located at 60s Van Buren, right?
Well, we've been working remotely, and the idea is that I think in this next stage, given if we get some opening, they'll be on site for some workshops and training. But currently, we've been revolving the workflow, and the communication has been through virtual means.
So once we resume, get back to normal, will we be charging rent and utilities for the space?
That has not been determined. I would have to look into the contract.
Anyone that utilize CHA spaces have to pay some type of rent. So if we have to pay rent, as residents, they should pay rent, or it should be taken out of a contract. We ain't big and we behind.
Understood.
Commissioners, any additional questions? Commissioner Parker? You're muted, Commissioner Parker. Commissioner Parker, you're muted.
Okay, sorry. Hey, Mike, I just wanted you to kind of touch a little bit on one of the key deliverables for the CSG group.
On this particular task order here, what we're talking about talking about development and implementation of some program initiatives around the local asset management model, which will create non-federal revenue under the MTW statutes. Additionally, we're looking at implementation of some RAD financing toolkits, which I think some of the commissioners were at a training with CSG previous, which we talked about different HUD programs and financing toolkits for the RAD program, but also within our development space overall. And then third one is the performance management thing, whereby we're designing effective monitoring tools to work like kind of at a dashboard context that are linked across the various cross-divisional for the authority, so that we kind of have more consistent metrics and reporting that everyone is using.
Okay, so I was just kind of I was kind of happy about some of the previous experiences, so I just wanted the public to hear a little just about how they're turning over, helping with the RAD conversions across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And like they are up in the thousands in terms of assisted public housing authorities and making sure that they're using their RAD dollars that the best that they could. So I just wanted the public to be aware of that, because it's just we adding on to the contract. So I just wanted to highlight some of the things that they bring to the table. So thanks, Mike.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. They have been involved in over 700 segregate RAD transactions to date.
And that's 700 different properties across the
Yeah,
country.
it's thousands of properties, but 700 transactions, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
If there are no other questions, I'll just make a quick comment in that I support this because I believe there's potential to recover this and more if they're successful in consulting us in ways that we haven't done before. And we absolutely have the opportunity, potential to recover the costs and actually make this, even though it'd be difficult to quantify, profitable venture. So if there are no other questions, I think we can move on to item number 3. That is the last item on our agenda. It's item number 3, as I said, and it is a recommendation to purchase insurance coverage for property managers insurance program for an aggregate not to exceed amount of $1,129,942. This item will be presented by Pat Rios, Chief Administrative Officer. Pat.
Good morning, Commissioners. Our premium increase for the upcoming 4/1 renewal is 25%. We continue to experience a hard market, and low-income habitational market remains to be one of the hardest hit.
Sorry, can someone please mute? We're hearing your crackling paper. Whoever not muted, please mute. I'm sorry, Pat, go ahead.
That's okay. Subsidized housing markets are seeing a general liability rate increase of 30 to 50% nationally. So the fact that our increase is 25%, just shows that we've worked very hard with our broker. Our change last year to the self-insured model for the first $2 million proved to be a good decision. We continue to control costs on the claim side. And in 2020, we only had 76 claims, and we paid out approximately $16,000 in the settlement of claims. With no additional collateral requirements for the self-insured layer, there will actually be an overall decrease in cash outlay to the authority for the upcoming year as compared to last year. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners?
Commissioner Chica, Commissioner Matanki, Commissioner Harris, and Commissioner Washington have their hands up. We'll start with Commissioner Matanki.
Hi. So just doing a couple of quick glances at this, Pat. You removed a clause in the first paragraph that mentioned the additional collateral deposit requirement of $400, and that is simply to clarify that the deposit's already in place. We're not adding another $400 on top of it, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then the funding source, why did that change from MTW block grant to general fund?
I think it's just a naming convention. It's considered, I guess the MTW and the general fund are considered to be the same thing. So I don't think there was a change in funding source.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Harris.
Yes, I would just like to ask, what's the highest claim that we have received in 2020 under the self-insured category?
I would have to respond and get back to you on the highest claim. I can tell you that 96% of our claims are under 5,000. But I could get that number for you.
Okay, thank you very much, as we must have insurance. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Commissioner Washington?
Pat, do the property managers have any type of insurance coverage?
So with the upcoming property managers that is currently in process, we are actually working with our broker to determine how we can help hold the property managers more accountable. Obviously, with the cost of insurance, it often proves to be more beneficial for us to hold the insurance, but we're working with our broker and the property asset management department to determine how we can hold the property managers accountable for their liability in the claims. So, or their negligence, I should say.
Right, they should have some type of insurance because some of the negligence is on them.
Correct.
And if we paying out for their faults, then we in trouble.
Correct.
If I may interject here, they do have insurance, Commissioner Washington, and as you pointed out, to the extent that there's an injury caused by their negligent act or omission, we would be holding them accountable.
Commissioner Chico, we have 2 additional questions. I see Commissioner Harris with her hands up.
No, I'm sorry.
You're good? Okay. So thank you. Commissioner Parker?
Get it, Deb.
Yeah, good morning. I was just wondering, who handles like slip and falls and stuff like that, outside of the property or on the perimeter, or is that part of the coverage?
That's part of this coverage is for the slip and falls that happen on our property.
Okay, so that's inside and outside.
Yes, if it's on our property.
So I heard you say earlier that we had 77 claims with only 16,000 paid out. So do that mean that majority of the claims were denied, or we wasn't liable?
So the way the claims process works, the claims that are paid out could be from previous years. So as claims come in, we work with our broker to, ensure that we're reserving for what we estimate the claims to be. So the 16,000 that we paid out may or may not be related to the 76 claims that occurred in 2020.
Okay, so we could be paying those out in 2021.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, so but I guess annually I just asked for the numbers to update us on the numbers in terms of claims. But other than that, I think we're doing a good job with maintaining the insurance, and thanks for saving the cost or deposit, if you will.
Yes.
Thanks.
But Pat, I'm sorry, did I miss it? Do you happen to know the number of total claims that are presented? I know that there were 7, on average. I know that there may have been paid out for a previous year, but.
So I can tell you for going back to 2016, we've had approximately 1,400 claims.
Wow.
With, each year we probably experience anywhere from 200 to 400 claims, but with 2020, we experienced only 76 claims.
And what's the process for acceptance or denial from our end?
Well, we work with CCMSI, who is our the company that assists us with the claim. So, when an incident happens, it's reported immediately, and then a determination is made on what we estimate the cost to be.
Thank you. Thanks, Pat. Commissioners, any other questions?
Yes, are we secondary or second in line so that the property manager's insurance policy covers us first and then we are there for excess?
No, we're first in line.
First in line. Thank you.
And like Cheryl Costa mentioned, when it's their negligence, then obviously legal is involved and we work out the details of those types of claims.
Okay.
And I think it's important to say one more time, I know it's been said before, and I hate to be repetitive, but it's been explored before, and we've come to the realization that if we did impose this insurance requirement upon our vendors, the cost would just be passed on to us, and we'd be looking at higher costs for property management. Just much more economical to do it from our perspective. If I'm not mistaken. If I misspoke, Pat or CEO, please correct me. I thought it was worth noting one more time. Deb, one more, then we're going to move on.
Yeah, last question is, how is the claim processed? Is it processed through the site, on site? How is CHA made aware of that a claim exists?
We're notified immediately from the property.
Or the property? Oh,
Yes.
okay. So if the resident will report to the property, if the property misses the slip and fall, and then they'll report back to us, like you say, right away.
Correct.
Oh, that's good. Okay, thank you, Pat.
Sure.
Okay, I don't think there are any other questions. I think we will move on then. We'll now start the public comment. We'll now start the public comment period. SB will let you know when you have 20 seconds of time remaining. As a reminder, personal attacks and abusive language leveled at commissioners, staff, residents, or other individuals will not be tolerated. First and only registered speaker is Tamika Holt. Ms. Holt registered to speak on agenda item number 2, professional services agreement with CSG Advisors. Ms. Holt, you may address the committee at this time. Are we letting Ms. Holt in?
Yes, we have, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Holt, the floor is yours. Hear us. Are you muted, Tamika or Ms. Holt?
Ms. Holt, are you on the call? Mr. Chairman, we have admitted Ms. Holt to the call. She's not muted.
Stepped away.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to move on. We'll give her a couple of seconds more, but.
Hello?
Oh, Ms. Holt, is that you?
Yes, I'm still here. I've been here all the time.
Great. Well, we've been waiting for you. So now the floor is yours.
Good morning, Commissioner. How is everyone doing?
Morning.
Morning.
Awesome. I have a few questions about CSG and their role in advising the authority. Are they only advising on the RAD the properties that are currently being converted to RAD, or all public housing property?
You want to take that, Mike, or?
Yeah, sure. So it's across the portfolio. There's a focus and in the short term on some of the RAD conversions, but we're looking at, both from development, RAD, and public housing portfolios as well, and scattered sites.
And I'd recommend, Ms. Holt, that you get all your questions out, because you have a limited amount of time, and then if we can.
Exactly, and I'm just curious. I'm focusing on the parts that pretty much move the money.
Sure.
So as far as the areas that they pretty much advise on, do they advise on the areas of as far as best practices, as far as budgeting, as far as scoping work, things of that area?
Hey, Ms. Holt, why don't you finish your questions, and then Mike can answer at the end, and that way you won't miss out on your time.
Do they advise in that area? Because I'm seeing problems I'm asking certain questions for a reason, and I want to know what's the issue, and then that's why I'm asking. Are they part of the quality control team? This is what I'm asking.
Well, our quality control team here that I'm aware of is focused on the HCV compliance. But with respect to the financial question, we are looking at various ways that we budget with the central office and implementing a local asset management plan, which kind of a HUD-approved technique, which generates non-federal revenue. So it is kind of across a broad spectrum of the financial and operating characteristics.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holt. CEOs, let's see, since that was the last registered speaker, on behalf of the Finance and Audit Committee members, I'd like to thank you, Ms. Holt, for your comments. Questions? Commissioners, you've heard the comments from the public. You Do we need any further discussion on any of the items presented today? Hearing none, I'd like to present an omnibus motion for the approval of items number 1, 2, and 3. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed votes, abstentions, or recusals? Hearing none, items 1, 2, and 3 are approved. Since there's no further business to discuss, I will make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays? Hearing none, the March 16th Finance and Audit Committee meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone. Lee?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Chico. We will now proceed with the Real Estate Operations Development Committee meeting. At this time, I would just like to notify the commissioners and the staff to please mute your phone, your mics if you're not speaking. Again, please mute your mics if you're not speaking. We're getting a lot of feedback. So Commissioner Brewer, you're up.
Thank you, Lee. Good morning. My name is Matt Brewer, Chairman of the Real Estate Operations Development Committee. I will call the March 16th meeting to order. The board secretary will call a roll to establish a quorum.
Commissioner Chico? Commissioner Chico? I know we
I'm
just
sorry,
saw-
I'm sorry, I was muted, my apology, yes.
He did his job and left.
Sorry,
Yes.
I had to go eat.
Commissioner Harris? Here. Commissioner Matanki?
Here.
Commissioner Brewer?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Lee. Let the record reflect that Chairperson Herlock and Commissioners Hart, Parker, Tanukas, and Washington are also in attendance, but not counted for the quorum. At this time, I'd like to present a motion pursuant to 5 ILCS 127 to hold the March 16th Real Estate Operations Committee meeting with commissioners by remote means only. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed votes? Hearing none, the motion carries and we'll proceed with today's meeting in compliance with the previously stated orders. The first voting matter today is the minutes for the January 19th, 2021 Real Estate Operations Development Committee meeting. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed votes? Hearing none, the motion carries and the January 19th meeting minutes are approved as submitted. We have 2 items for presentation and vote on today's agenda. As a reminder, comments from the audience will be entertained after the presentation by staff and discussion by commissioners. Items will be voted upon after public participation. We'll start with item number 4, which is an authorization to approve all actions necessary for the issuance and sale of CHA multifamily housing revenue notes in an amount not to exceed $75 million. This item will be presented by Ann McKenzie, our Chief Development Officer. Good morning, Ann.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner Brewer. And with me this morning is Lee Prater, my deputy in the Development Department. So we appreciate this time and we are very excited to bring to you an action to progress toward the rehabilitation of both the Albany Terrace and the Irene McCoy Gaines senior buildings, both within a couple of miles of each other on our west side. Both buildings need significant work, which is in design right now. A bond inducement, which is what this is, allows the CHA to seek reimbursement for eligible pre-development expenses. Redevelopment of these buildings. With significant elevator replacement work underway right now at both buildings and design, as I said, underway, we want to prioritize this bond inducement to allow for those costs to be included for the broader projects. This amount is a not to exceed amount, and it will probably be lower once the underwriting is completed, and we will be coming back to the board for that financing and with further explanation of what the rehab will be. I'm available for any questions, and so is Lee.
Thank you. I'll get us started. Can you get a little more granular on the mechanics of how this bond inducement works? Meaning the repairs are being made now, and today we're authorizing the issuance of bonds, not to happen now, but at some point later in the future, based upon completion and expenses?
Right. So and I'll let Lee catch me when I'm wrong. But the wonderful thing about a bond inducement is it's the date of this, your passage of this, that sets that date, that we can even go 60 days before that. Whatever we spend is allowable in those costs. If you remember, we did this with Carolyn Hedger years ago when we actually refinanced it using tax credits, and we were able to go back to an old board action and say, that's the date we induced the bonds. Does that help?
Yeah, that's helpful.
And just to remind you, bonds are necessary for a 4% tax credit deal. So these will be 4% tax credits.
Great. Are there any other questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Parker, did I see your hand up?
Yeah. So Ann, my question was, I think you already kind of explained it, but I was just again asking for clarity. The bonds are not, you said they're CHA bonds, but the bonds is actually coming from the city of Chicago.
Right, and I'll be bringing that in the next board action. But yes, the CHA does not issue bonds. We actually get volume cap from another source.
Oh, okay. So I'm just saying that's not coming out of our bond bank, coming from somewhere else.
It's not out of.
So it's not going to affect our budget or nothing like that moving forward just by releasing the notes.
Well, we run everything through our budget. Even we'll run this through our budget in 2022.
Right. So when they say not to exceed 75 million, that's just going to be used strictly for the two items that you just asked for. So these bonds couldn't be they ain't non-transferable.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, what is the estimated? I know there's a not to exceed of 75 million, but what's the estimated budget?
Well, through the good work of my team and what we'll learn even more from CSG how to do this is we are using the value of these buildings. You, the board, have really pushed us to figure out how to do this. So we are using the value of the buildings. So when you put the value of the buildings in, these are $130 million worth of work and the value of the buildings and all in.
Got it. Commissioner Matenki.
Yeah, that just, we're going not to exceed 75 million. What does the value of the buildings have to do with this? Could you explain that to me, please?
That's included in the 50% test that I will walk you through the next time we do this. But that value is part of the financing.
Understand.
Yeah, no, I have the same question, so I look forward to that explanation as well. Any more questions from commissioners?
Yeah.
Commissioner Harris.
Yes. I just want to know, when do you plan to come back to the board for the approval of the financing plan, and who actually manages these buildings right now?
We are coming back in May or July. We are underwriting really aggressively right now. And the property manager right now for these senior buildings is the Habitat Company.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Do we have any additional questions from commissioners?
Commissioner Chico has his hands up, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, my question was the same as yours and Commissioner Matenki's. I was just curious as to what the estimated cost was, and I didn't know how that related to the value of the building. Thank you. Oh, I guess we'll wait for that answer.
I am.
Yeah, Commissioner Washington.
Hey, once we sell these buildings and generate some dollars, I hope once we see those dollars that we get to sit down and decide how we're going to spend them. So the CAC along with CHA, because sometimes y'all give us what y'all want us to have instead of what we need. There's a lot of improvements that can be made that'll be beneficial, and those dollars will go a long way. Simple improvements.
I appreciate that, Commissioner Washington, and we have had very limited meetings, but there was a meeting last week just with building presidents. We are coming up with a strategy, and we will. I would like to follow up with you about that to make sure that you agree with the scope of work.
Okay. I'm gonna hold you to it.
Commissioner Parker?
If Francine just pointed out, once we sell a building, ain't no buildings for sale, is there? I'm kind of confused with selling buildings. We selling buildings? Are these two buildings for sale, Ann?
No, but they will be. Commissioner Washington is legally absolutely right. They will be transferred to a tax credit entity. We will be in control of that tax credit entity.
So we'll lose a percentage of the property?
Well, not really. The investor has a limited stake. So yes, it looks like that legally. And yes, it looks like a sale. So as Commissioner Washington has pointed out, that's how Fannie Emanuel worked. As you know, that's on our wait list. Carolyn Hedger, Pomeroy, Kenmore, Britton Budd. We have a number of tax credit deals.
Okay, so now, I'm sorry, Brewer, because now she done went into a whole nother part of the woods with this. When you talk about sale, we had talked about holding a majority stake. So when you talk about sale, what percentage would that take us to, opposed to now at 100%? To where are we going with the sale?
So I can walk you through it when we do the financing, but we will be the general partner, which means we are in control.
And what percent? That's all I'm asking. When you say in control, 60, 20, 80, 90, what?
It's for tax reasons. So our partner takes a 99.9% interest for so they can take all the losses. But it's a limited partnership, and I will walk you through it. This is not for the tax credit.
Okay, so you said this kind of irrelevant. Okay, I understand. I'll ask further questions when you come back.
No, I really appreciate it. It's very complicated.
Thank you for your explanations. I can't tell whether there are any more questions from commissioners, so speak up if you have additional questions. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, item number 5, which will be presented by Cheryl Burns, our Chief Housing Choice Voucher Officer. Item number 5 reads as follows: recommendation to execute a housing assistance payments contract with B.J. Wright Preservation Apartments.
Good morning, Commissioners. I have Carrie Steinbuck, my deputy, here with me as well to help with any of your questions. The item that is before you is a recommendation to assign up to 160 project-based vouchers from a new HUD award of tenant protection voucher funding, which will go to Barbara Jean Wright Preservation Apartments. This new funding award supports CHA's ongoing commitment to preserve affordable housing and provide family units. As you can see from the board item, these units have no age requirement. If this item is approved, we will meet with qualified residents of BJ Wright to brief them on the program requirements and allow them to select a PBV or a tenant-based voucher. The total award of this PBV contract will be based upon the decision of the families at the site. Through attrition, and as current residents no longer need the rental assistance provided under the PBV, the HAP contract will be amended to remove units to a total of 82 PBVs. In reviewing the PBV application, we determined that if all 160 households select the PBV option, there could be a financial deficit of up to 1.8 million. Therefore, CHA has submitted a request to HUD to increase the funding award to meet this possible deficit. HCV staff will move forward immediately once we receive notification of the adequate funding from HUD. And with that, I'm available, Carrie and I are available for any questions.
Great, thank you, Cheryl. Questions from the commissioner? I see Commissioner Washington has a question.
Hi, Cheryl, did you all go out and inspect the properties?
No, this we won't take this on until the building is for sale, and there will be substantial rehabilitation. So no, we haven't at this time. Carrie, have you gone by? I have not gone by.
I've gone by the building. I haven't gone in the units.
But I always say, just when you're gonna buy a new car, you don't let the dealership show you the cars I want. That you sit inside, you look around, open and close doors, you play with the gadgets. Before we do anything, I suggest we go look around. We can't decide when to go for sale. Then we're gonna take a look, and we put on the book that we're gonna purchase it. Always look
We are,
before you leave.
I'm sorry, we're not purchasing this building.
We're just using it for PPP. I meant when we were putting site-based vouchers in the buildings,
Yes,
which going to the authority, we still need to see what we're getting. See what type of condition the units are in, how much tuck point, and how many new roofs they need.
Isn't
How
there
many
a minimum
windows?
requirement?
Those
Yes.
buildings are like 50 years old. I remember when they was built in 70 and 70, 69, 70, 71. They was building them.
Thank you, Commissioner.
That's
I did
50
check with
years.
HUD. They have passed their REACT inspections. All of the units will have to meet HQS to be able to come under the project-based voucher contract. And I will commit to going over to the building and walking through some vacant units.
Thank you. Commissioner Matanky, was your hand up?
And I want to finish.
That was my question and answer already. Thank you.
Great.
Commissioner Parker,
Yeah,
Mr.
Commissioner
Chairman?
Parker, go ahead.
So Cheryl, you said we're only administering the vouchers, and so we won't be managing the property and nothing like that. All we'll be doing is administering a voucher to the property, right?
that is
So that'll
correct.
be. So how would that communication go? Just you'll deliver the vouchers, and then what we'll monitor the usage of the vouchers. I'm just trying to see how did that relationship go?
Sure.
The CHA and the property.
Sure. So once this property closes, HUD will send us information on all of the families that are eligible in this project. We will send letters to all of those people, and we will coordinate with the on-site property management. We typically go to the site and do a briefing and explain the program options and answer any of their questions. From there, they will be given 60 days to make a selection. And after that, then they will either be a part of the PBV contract, or we can issue them a voucher for them to go look elsewhere, or they will use what's termed an enhanced voucher to stay at the property, but not a part of the PBV project. So they'll have 3 options to choose from.
Right, and you said they're not funded at 100% at this point. So if all 160 decide to just stay put, then we have to reach out to HUD for additional dollars.
We have already reached out to HUD in anticipation that the majority of these families will want to stay. So anybody that elects to stay is going to be able to stay, because we won't move forward until we hear from HUD.
Right, and so do we get a fee for that?
Yes, we do.
Do we get a fee for managing? Oh, okay. I just wanted to see. Okay. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
One question I have is, I heard you allude to this, but will the resident requirements change under this transition?
Can you give me a little bit more when you say requirements?
Meaning, it's not quite a tenant selection plan, but the requirements residents must comply by to be eligible, to remain eligible.
So in this property, the requirements will be to get a voucher. So we do a criminal background check, and we do verify that they do meet the income requirement. So that would be the only requirements for them as a part of the getting on the voucher program. So
nothing different than
utilities.
Requirements for them to be there right now.
Yeah, so they're already living on site, so there wouldn't be any additional requirements for them to stay there.
Commissioner Harris, thank you.
Yeah. I just want to know what kind of due diligence was done to vet the service providers, communities of the Opportunity Fund?
So we have a supportive services plan that was submitted with the application that includes a budget for on-site services. Jonathan Rose, this is our first relationship with Jonathan Rose Companies, and it is one of their agencies. Nationally, they have had a good reputation, and HUD approved the assignment of the project-based contract over to Jonathan Rose. So they also have experience. They actually have experience with this company. CHA does not at this point.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yeah, Commissioner Parker, go ahead.
I was just wondering, do we have any? I'm thrilled with the proximity to the university. So I'm not sure we got students that, any student housing there, at 1354. And, just happy that we reserving housing in that up and coming area. I think the area is, really good area. And so I was just wondering about the student population because of this proximity to the U of I.
Do you mean in this property, BJ, right?
Right, I'm saying, right. I guess they got student housing, but it's kind of real close. So is that kind of like, do we get students trying to get housing for our students?
So,
right on the campus?
so as it relates to this property, the only people that will be eligible immediately will be the people that live in the property. So I'm not certain if there are any students, but HUD is awarding us these vouchers to assist the families that are in the building to make sure that they are not displaced. So we're not sure yet of the client makeup there. So I really can't answer that question.
And let me also add that we will open a wait list. So any future vacancies will come from the CHA wait list.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. If there are no further questions from the commissioners, and please speak up if there are. But if not, then we'll move on to the public comment period. Thank you, Cheryl. SB will let you know when you have 20 seconds of your time remaining. Our usual reminder remains, which is personal attacks and abusive language leveled at commissioners, staff, residents, or other individuals will not be tolerated. Our first speaker is Tamika Holt. Ms. Holt registered to speak on agenda item number 5, the HAP contract with BJ Wright Preservation Apartments. Ms. Holt, if you're here, you can address the committee at this time. Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yes, please.
Ms. Holt, as a reminder, you have 2 minutes to address the committee. We will make every attempt to respond to your questions at the conclusion of your allotted time. Your 2 minutes start now. Go ahead, Ms. Holt.
Hello again, Commissioner. So I'm very familiar with the Barbara Jean Wright complex. I grew up in that area, been there all my life. So been watching Barbara Jean Wright and the situation going on in Barbara Jean Wright and with the families. So we will be watching to make sure that the current families are not being pushed out like they have been encountering problems for the past 6 to 8 years. Okay, so yeah, you have problems over there. So I definitely suggest you be hands-on from beginning to end. As far as Barbara Jean Wright and the families and the things they've been going through. And yes, the apartments are they're definitely in the conditions that they need serious overhaul. They need serious rehabbing. Yes, it does. But getting back to the weeds of the things, as far as CHA's role is the management company. Do you pick the management company, or are you the current management company will remain in place?
That was the question. The property is being sold, and the new owner will have a managing agent there. So the property is being sold before this deal goes through.
And because we're in the area and the families that live over there, they're pretty much connected also to ABLA. You know how residents know each other and they move from one place to the other. So the communities are kind of connected. So I think you should know that. And therefore, and as far as the work that will take place over in Barbara Jean Wright courses, like I said, there is a lot of work to be done there. So it might as well be proactive instead of reactive. And I suggest that we start those conversations now. And that way, when everybody and all the housing advocates and everybody come together and think they want to tell us what to do with our people, we're already in place because we're not having it there. Okay? Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and thank you for your comments. I think Ms. Holt was our last registered speaker. So on behalf of the Real Estate Committee, thank you for your comments. Commissioners, you've heard from the public. Do we need any further discussion on any of the items presented today?
Mr. Chairman, we have CEO Scott. Did you want to say something?
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, if I may, I do want to just clarify for purposes of the public that the last item that we discussed, the Barbara Jean Wright Apartments, is not a CHA property, nor will CHA be owning it or managing it in the future. So if there are any questions, certainly we are welcome. We'd be happy to answer questions in future board meetings, but I want to make sure that's on the record. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to present an omnibus motion for the approval of items number 4 and 5. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays, recusals, or abstentions? Hearing none, items 4 and 5 are approved as presented. If there's no further business to come before this committee, I would like to make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays? Hearing none, the March 16th Real Estate Operations Development Committee is now adjourned.
Thank you, Commissioner Brewer. Good morning and welcome to the March 16th, 2021 CHA Board Meeting. Again, pursuant to applicable laws and the February 5th gubernatorial proclamation, which declares that public health concerns render in-person attendance of more than 10 people not feasible, this meeting will be conducted via video conference. At this time, I will call the meeting to order and the board secretary will take a roll to establish a quorum. Lee?
Commissioner Brewer,
Here.
Commissioner Chico,
Here.
Commissioner Harris,
Here.
Commissioner Hart,
Here.
Commissioner Matanki,
Here.
Commissioner Parker,
Here.
Commissioner Tanukas,
Here.
Commissioner Washington, Commissioner Washington,
Here.
Commissioner Hurlock.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll proceed with today's meeting in compliance with the earlier mentioned orders. First, however, we're going to have centering thoughts by Commissioner Mildred Harris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I'd just like to say welcome, everyone. A few months ago, I asked Tracy Scott, our CEO for the Chicago Housing Authority, what does she think would be a key word for CHA in 2021? And she replied, resiliency. Well, to define resilience, it has been described as a capacity for positive outcome despite challenging or threatening circumstances. Now, may I pose this question to you? Did you know that the month of March is known as Women's History Month? Well, this month comes to highlight the contributions of women of resilience to events in history. You know, when I began to reflect on the word resilience and that this was Women's History Month, I actually thought about the many CHA buildings which have been named after women. So going back in history, I want to say that resolution number 2005 CHA-137 reads, whereas the Board of Commissioners has reviewed the board letter dated August 4th, 2005, renaming and authorizing to ratify the renaming of 27 Chicago Housing Authority senior buildings listed, and I'm going to share the names. Mary Jane Richardson Jones Apartments, Vivian Harsh Apartments, Mahalia Jackson Apartments. We have Ada S. McKinley Apartments, Maudel Bosville Apartments, Minnie Ripperton Apartments, Ida Platt Apartments, Ella Flagg Young Apartments, Maria Martinez Apartments, Elizabeth Wood Apartments, Edith Spurlock Sampson Apartments, and there are 2 sites for her. Then we have Margaret Day Black Apartments, Mary Catherwood Apartments, and we have 2 sites for those apartments. Danielle Hudson Burnham Apartments, Carolyn Hager Apartments, Zelda Orms Apartments, Long Life Apartments, Lydia Puchinska Apartments. We have 2 sites with her. Elizabeth Davis Apartments, Lorraine Hansberry Apartments, Fannie Emanuel Apartments, Irene Gaines Apartments, and Alfreda Duster Apartments. well. I think that with those names and those people who've gone on to glory, we need to give them a hand. And so I have brought my clapper for them, okay? And then I want to say that we have our very own Angela Herlock, the chairperson of our CHA board. Now, I just want to say this, that, you know, she's been awarded the South Chicago Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year. She's recognized as a Harvard Kennedy School Achieving Excellence Fellow. She received an award from Chicago Magazine, and she was inducted as an inaugural fellow at the University of Chicago's Civic Leadership Academy. Can we not give her a hand? Oh, yes. And then we have our very own Tracy Scott, our CEO. And before coming to CHA, Ms. Scott served as interim executive director and CEO of the Minneapolis Public Housing Authority. And during her 3-year tenure, which included an earlier role as deputy executive director, she co-created a 20-year strategic vision and capital plan focused on preserving Minneapolis's public housing portfolio of 42 high-rise buildings and 700 single-family homes. And under her leadership with the Minneapolis Public Housing Authority, she secured its first low-income housing tax credits and an approval for a 184-unit RAD project and completed a new development for formerly homeless families. Come on, let's give it for our very own Tracy Scott, who has done a wonderful job. But, you know, I couldn't stop there. You know, I just had to acknowledge our female commissioners. We have Commissioner Hart, Commissioner Parker, Commissioner Washington, and yours truly. And then we have our secretaries, Lecha Gill, Brito Esperanza, Pat Jones, our executive staff, and also staff members. And to those of you who are watching, we have our CHA residents, our guests, families, all of you women today. I think we need to salute and celebrate ourselves today. So will you not, let's give us a hand, give a hand for all of the women, see that this is
Whoa.
History Month. Come on, CHA. We are doing it. We are doing it. And we are going to be a light in this city and across the nation because we are women who have truly said, yes, we can do this, and we're doing it.
There it is.
And that's my centering thought for today. Thank you.
Madam Chair, may I take a moment? I just want to acknowledge and thank Commissioner Harris for her energy, enthusiasm, for all these centering thoughts. And particularly today, I love the clapper that you brought to the.
All I had to learn, I learned in kindergarten. You know, I'm a kindergarten teacher. So thank you. Thank you.
I would have to agree with Commissioner Brewer that Dr. Harris is never a dull moment when we give her the floor, and absolutely love that. Thank you for those inspirational thoughts. Before we move on to give CEO Scott a minute to do her report, I'd like to take a few minutes to share with you some of the activities that the board members have been participating in since we last met. As the CEO and I continue to meet every Friday morning, we discuss critical agency matters, and this week she has also provided the commissioners with the CHA's 2021 strategic plan. It is not only robust and thoughtful, but it centers on the following 3 pillars: expanding and improving housing, fostering resilient families, and driving operational excellence and agility. During the month of February, I was able to conduct individual meetings with each of the commissioners to discuss board strategy and governance matters. And in fact, I held my last 2 meetings yesterday. Also, a panel comprised of several board members interviewed candidates for the vacant position of Inspector General. The offer of employment to the selected candidate is scheduled for approval later in today's meeting. And finally, I'm excited to announce that our own Dr. Commissioner Mildred Harris, founder and CEO of God First Church and Ministry, received the Living Legend Award for her outstanding commitment to the communities of Chicago. This award was sponsored by the Chicago Police Department and the Chicago Library. Awesome lady, right?
Yay.
Do we have a
Um,
building that we could name after Dr. Harris?
This award was given by Commander Roderick Watson, Sergeant Jay Wilson from Community Policing, and Officer Hubbard, the Community Policing Senior Liaison from the 3rd District. They presented her with a certificate and a beautiful bouquet of flowers. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Harris for this prestigious award.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to conclude my report by reminding everyone to continue to please stay healthy and safe. Thank you. So next on the agenda, we will have a report from our awesome CEO.
Thank you for calling me awesome. That's a great way to begin the morning. Good morning, everybody, to the Board of Commissioners, our residents, members of the public who are watching us. Thank you for being here. I was going to say happy St. Patrick's Day, but after Commissioner Harris's enthusiastic celebration of Women's History Month, and since CHA's colors are green, happy CHA Day, because that's why we're here. As Chair Herlock mentioned, our 2021 strategic plan is built on the major pillars focused on the theme of building resilience. And while this might seem somewhat cliche to speak of resilience during a pandemic, it has been and continues to be the work and the mission of CHA. We build and maintain stable housing. For families to move to self-sufficiency, they must build and hone their skills to handle the ups and downs of life. And for the Housing Authority to fulfill its mission, we must continuously improve. I look forward to reporting CHA's progress towards these goals in 2021. I have 3 major items that I want to speak to the board about and to the public. The first is just an update that Congressman Marcia Fudge was confirmed as the new HUD secretary. So again, another applause for Women's History Month and women making history. The second point is that just this last week, as we all know, the American Rescue Plan was passed. This $1.9 trillion package will provide extra vouchers, stimulus checks that will go to our families, and also most of our families will be eligible for the earned income tax credit provisions of this. Two affordable housing provisions of note include the emergency rental assistance, which will be administered by the state and the city. And more directly for housing authorities, there are emergency vouchers. HUD has 60 days to provide the details, which I hope to provide an update to the board at our next meeting about how those vouchers will be issued. But we do expect that we would get some more in Chicago and certainly in Illinois. The third item I'm very happy to announce is concerning our voucher program. For many years, CHA has been examining how to incorporate the perspectives of our Housing Choice Voucher Program families. And so I'm pleased to introduce to you today our HCV Participant Advisory Council. This council will meet quarterly with CHA staff to provide their input on how we can better serve our voucher families. Initially, their primary focus will be to provide feedback on proposed changes to our MTW annual plan and our program administrative plan. The Participant Advisory Council, I've got in my notes here PAC, so you may start hearing me say PAC, P-A-C, may also provide input on other program policies and initiatives in the future. The 5 members of the Participant Advisory Council were selected following an open application process that began last fall. They come from different communities throughout the city: South Shore, Bronzeville, Ashburn, Avondale, and Humboldt Park. They share a strong commitment to affordable housing, and they're excited to represent and to serve. So it is my pleasure to introduce the HCV Participant Advisory Council, which you'll see their pictures on screen. The first person I will mention, and I'll just give you just a short background, Ms. Ashley Colt Coates, who has been in the HCV program for 10 years, is a mother of 2, and is working towards a degree in public relations at Columbia College. She's also in our family self-sufficiency program. Ms. Ladora Lomax, who has been in the HCV program for 4 years and also in the family self-sufficiency program. And she's also a CHA scholarship recipient and is looking forward to continuing her education. Ms. Roquella Preston has been in the program for 2 years, is the mother of 1, and is a trained phlebotomist. Just give me credit for saying that word right, phlebotomist. While she's only been in the program a short while, she's eager to learn more and hopes to participate more in CHA's special programs. Ms. Julia Selvey, who has been in the program for 8 years and is currently building her consulting business. She's also a scholarship recipient and took part in CHA's Partners in Education program, earning a bachelor's degree in business administration with a minor in social entrepreneurship from Northern Illinois University. She brings her unique perspective to having worked in the HCV program also as a certified housing specialist. And lastly, Ms. Stacy True, who has been in the program for 7 years and is a youth advocate with several years of experience working with nonprofit organizations and the summer employment programs, including anti-bullying campaigns and community centers. So on behalf of all of us at CHA, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to these advisory council members for volunteering their time to assist us, and we look forward to working with each of them in the coming months and years. So if we can have a round of applause for them. And then I'd like to close my remarks with building along the theme of building resilience. CHA worked with the city and service providers to host vaccination clinics in all our senior buildings. We'll be doing this throughout the month of March, but I'm proud to announce that in the last 3 weeks, we have vaccinated nearly 3,000 seniors and site staff. So a round of applause for that. So thanks to our resident services teams, our property management partners, as well as our service provider partners who have helped make this happen. And I look forward to reporting to you even more vaccinations in the future. And so with that, I would close my remarks that we we urge everyone to get vaccinated and continue to wear masks so we too can get through this crisis. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO. I believe we had a comment or a question by Commissioner Matanke.
I just wonder what percentage of our seniors have been vaccinated, approximately.
Thank you, Commissioner Matanke. Madam Chair, we are right now trying to figure out how to survey our seniors to figure that out, because while we have offered the vaccination clinics, we have encouraged everyone to get a vaccination however they can if they've been contacted by their primary provider or a clinic to go ahead and get that vaccination. So we're trying to figure out how to survey them now.
And when we have when we have enough in place, are we going to change the rules for people being able to gather together without masks if they're fully vaccinated, et cetera? Are we still keeping the seniors safer?
Right. So for purposes of our buildings, our community rooms are still closed to general activity. And over the next few weeks, we actually, with the executive team, will start looking at how we gradually return to the workplace and also return those buildings. But they are right now, they continue to be closed.
Thank you.
Also, Commissioner Washington had a question or comment.
Oh, just to answer your question, Matanke, I did my own survey to people in the buildings. We've been going to senior building with CHA have. We have 3,152 out of 10,000 units in the senior buildings. Does not count family houses. And family houses, like maybe 4,000 people got vaccinated. That's about it. I've been keeping up with it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Washington.
Thank you. Just want to know the vaccination.
Absolutely. Thank you, CEO Scott. So we will move on now to the approval of resolutions and committee reports. Vice Chair Chico will present the report for the Finance and Audit Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Finance and Audit Committee held its regular meeting at 8:30 a.m. today. I chaired the meeting and the following committee members were present as well: Commissioners Hart, Tanukas, and Washington. Present also but not counted for the quorum were Chair Hurlock and Commissioners Brewer, Harris, Matanke, and Parker. Finance and Audit Committee members then discussed, voted, and recommended for approval the following 3 items. Item number 1, recommendation to approve and submit to HUD the FY 2020 Moving to Work Annual Report. Item number 2, authorization to amend the professional services agreement with CSG Advisors, Inc. for management advisory and consulting services in the not to exceed amount of $750,000. Item number 3, authorization to purchase insurance coverage for Property Managers Insurance Program, PMIP, for an aggregate not to exceed amount of $1,129,942. Madam Chair, on behalf of the Finance and Audit Committee, I would like to present an omnibus motion for the approval of items number 1, 2, and 3.
So moved.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We have an omnibus motion on the floor presented by Vice Chair for approval of items 1, 2, and 3. I would have asked, may I have a second? But I believe Commissioner Washington has already been forthright and gave a second. So all in favor say aye.
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 Are there any nays, recusals, and abstentions? Hearing none, the resolution for items 1, 2, and 3 are approved. We will now move into the Real Estate Committee report, which will now be presented by Committee Chairman Matt Brewer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Real Estate Operations Development Committee held its monthly meeting earlier this morning. I chaired the meeting and the following committee members were present as well. Commissioners Chico, Harris, and Matanke. Although Chair Hurlock and Commissioners Hart, Parker, and Tanukas and Washington were also present, they were not counted toward the quorum. Committee members then discussed, voted, and recommend for approval the following 2 items. Item number 4, authorization to approve all necessary actions for the issuance and sale of CHA multifamily housing revenue notes in an amount not to exceed $75 million. Item number 5, recommendation to execute a housing assistance payments contract with BJ Wright Preservation Apartments. Madam Chair, on behalf of the Real Estate Operations Development Committee, I would like to present an omnibus motion for approval of items 4 and 5.
Thank you, Commissioner Brewer. We have an omnibus motion on the floor presented by Commissioner Brewer for approval of items number 4 and 5. May we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor say aye.
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 Are there any nays, recusal, or abstentions? Hearing none, the resolution for items number 4 and 5 are approved. At this time, we're going to begin our public comment period. There are 3 speakers who have registered within the allocated time frame and 2 individuals who submitted written comments for today's public session. Based on CHA's public participation rules for board meetings conducted by video conference, each speaker will be granted 2 minutes to speak. The Assistant Board Secretary will advise you when you have 20 seconds of your time remaining, and speakers will address the board individually and are not allowed to cede their time to any other person. Personal attacks and abusive language leveled at commissioners, staff, residents, or other individuals will not be tolerated. Responses to comments presented during public participation will be distributed at the next board meeting and will also be posted on the CHA's website. Written comments received will be made available for commissioners' review and responded to by the next scheduled board meeting. Our first registered speaker will be Brenda Perry from the Lincoln Perry Apartments. Ms. Perry?
Good morning. I appreciate you allowing me to participate. Many of you know me from before, coming to the meetings on a semi-regular basis.
Good morning, Ms. Perry.
I've been ill, I'm much better, and so I'm back. And what I don't like and what I want to hear more of is about these senior buildings. Our safety and security has been jeopardized. We got new elevators that keep falling or not operating at all. I got a problem with that. You residents are scared to get in the elevators. I'm in a 9-story building. I cannot afford, I'm on the 7th floor. I cannot afford to be scared to get on the elevator. Somebody from CHA needs to have these elevators re-inspected and assure us that they are fixed properly. The other thing is we don't have an assistant manager in our building. Every time we get an assistant manager, they're here a week or two, a month, and then they're taken away to another building. Half of our staff works at other buildings. So we can't get too much done here. I'm waiting months and months and months to get floors cleaned. It's ridiculous. I don't even have the assistant manager to complain to now. I went to the manager. I had a meeting with Mrs. Osborne yesterday. And I'm told, well, we're working on it. Well, when working on it gets to be almost a complete year, I have a problem with it. So someone from the board needs to see why we can't get things done in these buildings, and our quality of life in these senior buildings has gone down 50% from when I first moved in here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Our second registered speaker is Carla Jackson. Ms. Jackson?
Ms. Jackson? Madam Chair, we do have Ms. Jackson on as one of the speakers. She is on the meeting. Ms. Jackson?
We will move on to the next speaker, and if she is able to speak after that, that's fine. The last registered speaker is Tamiko Holt. Ms. Holt?
Ms. Holt, are you there? Ms. Holt or Ms. Jackson, are you there? I'm sorry, Madam Chair. It shows that both of them are participants in the meeting right now.
Tell them to take their mute off.
They're not muted.
Okay, well then we will move on to the next. Oh, we can now.
Okay. All right, awesome. Hello again, Commissioners. How's everyone doing? So we haven't had a chance to really communicate, and can you hear me?
Yes, Ms. Holt, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is me. We haven't had a chance to really communicate. We're having a lot of issues, and they have not been going addressed. I've been sending emails to you, CEO Tracy Scott, with no response, just as well as Beverly, concerning a list of issues that has still not been addressed, even with contracts that a lot of contractors have with jobs, no preemptive meetings concerning the changes that's being made. And I do think it's very disrespectful for us to be treated like we're asking for handouts and we're not doing the work, and we're not being treated like respected contractors. One major issue is you taking down factors for work in Chicago and expect us to pay and buy material in a world where COVID-19, where labor cost is going up, and also price of material has went up 25% plus. And we're trying to figure out who is making these decisions. Nobody has answers for us. And when we ask for meetings, it's like, I don't know. I guess when I ask for, you know what I'm saying, some clarification, it's like it falls on deaf ears. And because I'm not into the whole display of hooping and hollering, because I like to get stuff done, and I like to pretty much work it out. So basically, I've come to the point to where it's, try talking to you guys, try getting in there working with you guys to help problem solve. And for some reason, I don't know if is it a thing about Black people, period, because you do know we are 70+% of your population that's living in CHA. Okay, so whether we're on vouchers or whether we're in public housing, it's all the same, the subsidized housing. And to even try to make a transition from there, you know, it's like you take us three steps back when we're trying to go even 2 steps forward, and that's a problem. Do you have a problem with Black people as a whole? What is it?
Thank you, Ms.
Only
Holt.
way you want to highlight us is in the social service light, as if we always looking for a handout. What is the problem? What is the problem? We're looking for.
Thank you, Ms. Holt. That was our last registered speaker. And I would like to thank each of you for your comments and concerns. As mentioned before, we will distribute responses to your comments at the next board meeting, and we will also post them on the CHA website. Commissioners will be provided with copies of the other 2 comments received from Shaquita Moore and Paris Wilson. Responses to Ms. Moore and Ms. Wilson's comments will be provided at the next scheduled board meeting. There are a few announcements before the board goes into closed session. I apologize profusely. I have a child who is learning vicariously in the next room. Our next committee and board meetings are scheduled for Tuesday, May 18th at 8:30 a.m. As a reminder, visit our website or call the board secretary's office if you would like to register to speak during the public commentary sessions for our live stream broadcast. I will now present a motion to go into closed meeting for approximately 30 minutes. In addition to items number 7 on the agenda, and in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, the board may discuss matters under the following exceptions: personnel-related matters under C1 and C2, pending, imminent, or probable litigation under C11, purchase, sale, or lease of real estate property under C5 and C6, and audit reviews under C29. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed votes? Hearing none, we will now go into closed session and we'll be back in approximately 30 minutes. Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to request all of the staff to drop off the call. Only our regular closed meeting participants should stay on.
I have a comment. Why do we Commissioner Parker?
Commissioner Matanki, let me make sure that we're off the air, okay?
Okay.
that's going to give folks housing, affordable and CHA, but also it's going to give folks an opportunity to work.
This commitment to affordable housing at this site never wavered, and due to your early insistence, became the blueprint for the ARO ordinance and later the pilot zone ordinance.
And so we are really proud to be part of this groundbreaking today, that it's taking the city another step towards its ambition to be a more inclusive and equitable city.
We're really excited to be part of this project. This is going to be an apartment building where if you earn $22,000 a year, you can live here. And if you earn $100,000 a year, you can live here. That is a vision for not just this neighborhood, but really the whole city, the whole state.
When we complete projects like this, we're making it possible for the families, low-income families, and children who live in these communities to walk tall and envision greater for themselves.
I just wanted to say good morning to everyone and just tell you, I'm as happy as a kid in a candy store on today. We're so excited about the Jobs Plus program coming here to the Dearborn homes, and we're just so grateful.
The Dearborn residents will be provided services and connected with employer linkages, job placement, financial literacy, and as they strive to increase their wages.
This is all about providing great partnerships, whether it's between the federal government and our partners at CHA, but also the CHA's partnership with local service providers and local employers. I think it's really, really important.
We focus on economic empowerment through employment. That is the bottom line. What we recognize is that in the absence of meaningful work, we cannot support ourselves, we cannot support our families, and we cannot sustain and develop our communities.
I support this initiative. I think it's important to have local organizations that can help provide services to people and get them ready for employment.
Because what we're building here is a culture of work. But more importantly, we're building the pride that comes from work and from providing for your families and for children's growth. And so I want to thank everybody who's involved in this and everybody who will contribute to this over the next 4 years to make this possible.
So today we've actually partnered with our amazing partners, Chicago Housing Authority, to have a give back with clothing and just celebration for those that are rebuilding their careers and jumping back into the 2021 year to really get their year kicked off with being their best version of themselves.
I have seen lots of smiles, lots of interest. Grateful families saying, we really appreciate CHA doing this, and CHA is grateful for the ability to partner with folks like the Daisy Foundation to make this happen.
I found some pretty decent sweaters and a pair of shoes, which I need. I took advantage of it because I don't really shop for myself too much. So since this is free, I decided to go ahead and get me some new stuff.
Well, today I'm picking up a few items for an interview and a couple of casual items as well. Experience was very helpful, pleasant people. Yes, I definitely got what I needed.
I want to thank the CHA employees who volunteer for this event. While we have staff who are employed to support families, we also have a number of CHA employees that step up when we have events like this to make sure that we can serve multiple families.
When you have an amazing outfit on and it's brand new, because all the items are brand new, you feel better about yourself. You feel confident and it exudes from the inside out.
I wanted to apply for the funds. In the effort to do that, I really need a POS system. to automate my business. I'm still using guest checks and old cash register. So a POS system would help me out a lot.
I plan on using the money to upgrade equipment, to get like better equipment and supplies to fight against the COVID.
This grant will help with the playground that we're doing for the kids to make it a bit safer, provide for social distancing, PPE equipment, and basically playground safety equipment and toys and things for the kids.
We know that your family depends on your success, and we know that your community depends on you for jobs and services. And we value your contributions and applaud you for serving as a role model of what's possible for our youth and others in our community. So thank you and congratulations.
And what we do is we meet with young students between the ages of 14 and 20, and we assist them with anything as far as like scholarships, financial aid, college applications.
Utilizing those job boards, which I mentioned, again, Career Builder, there's tons of other ones out there. There's specialty ones as well, so keep that in mind. So let's say you're a marketing major, there will be marketing job boards out there.
Or use every resource you're available, because again, eyes on the prize, and that's graduation, because that's the beginning of the rest of your life.
The Chicago Housing Authority is offering more than 250 college scholarships of $1,000 each to help students living in public housing. WBBM's Jim Goodis talked to a past recipient. He's live on the Newsline with the story.
Keith Cheese Brianna Bissell, who had already enrolled at Eastern Illinois University to study web design and cybersecurity, when she learned about the scholarships and applied.
I found out about the scholarship my sophomore year in undergrad. Coming in as a freshman, I owed money every semester, about $500-600, sometimes more dollars per semester. And it may not seem like a lot, but when you don't have much money, that is a lot.
Bissell now owns a company called Web Insight that builds websites for businesses around the country, and she says it's about to hit the six-figure mark in sales. The CHA is accepting applications for the current round of scholarships until May 14th on its website, thecha.org. Reporting live, Jim Goodis, News Radio 105.9 FM.
Operation Warm 2020 looks a little different for CHA this year. Due to the pandemic, we couldn't have the normal 3,000 plus families come to one location in a 4-hour event. So we're doing this over 4 days, a total of 35 hours.
This year is different from past years. Normally this is a celebration with a lot of people in one room where we can not only give away the coats, but we can offer services, flu shots, and other things for families. However, we are able to still get new coats in the hands of families that need them.
Just not having to go scrape up money to get an extra coat is very helpful. I really appreciate it.
By CHA giving us this opportunity to give our children's coats, or give us coats for our children is super, awesome. I love it.
You know, at Operation Warm, we like to say that it's more than a coat. In addition to giving a child warmth, we're giving them confidence, the confidence that comes from having a coat that's brand new, that's stylish, that's in a current color, and the hope that comes from knowing that somebody outside of their immediate family cares enough about them to provide them with that coat.
There are lots of safety precautions in place this year. There are markers on the ground to make sure everyone maintains that 6 feet of social distance from one another. Masks are required for everyone. Every single person, be it a volunteer or one of our residents who enters this facility, is going through a COVID-19 screening, which includes a temperature check as well as answering questions regarding any sort of COVID-19 exposure.
There is nothing like the expression on a child's face when they receive a gift from them. It tells them that we care about them. And the fact that these are new coats and not used coats, when many of our families who are struggling to make ends meet may have the children often experience getting the hand-me-downs or the thrift store buy, and a brand new coat sends a very different message. It says a message that we care about you, we want to see you grow, and you are important.
If you're excited to be here today, clap your hands and make some noise out here. It's a good day.
We are here today to take the next steps towards creating a more inclusive Chicago, where all residents have access to first-class living experience and the resources they need to lead a happy, safe, and fulfilled lives. And that starts with housing. This project brought together stakeholders across a wide variety of industries to create 84 units for residents to call home, 38 of which will be affordable and 21 of which will be public housing.
And further, at a time when businesses are shutting down amid a global pandemic, this project is providing the opportunity for new and minority-owned local businesses, soon of which all 12 storefronts will be filled and contributing to the vibrancy of this neighborhood.
We're very excited to be a part of this. QCDC Retail Tenant Engagement Program has really brought us to a level of business owners and as a family. We thrive together to help each other succeed in this project.
We brought 8 business owners who are community-based to a project that nobody thought could happen, and they definitely didn't think it could happen in 12 months.
I'm so proud to be a part of the history of Bronzeville. This beautiful place is just wonderful. So far, it's just been great. I'm looking at my new neighbors, trying to, get a feel of them. I was the president over there at the building, but everybody there, no, you're not moving. Yes, I'm moving.
We can stand proud knowing that this project was a joint venture between a majority prime contractor, McShane, African-American contractor, Ujamaa Construction. We truly have set a standard for equity and inclusion.
Our mission is to leverage affordable, decent, safe, and stable housing as a catalyst to help communities thrive, to help low-income families increase their potential for economic success and a sustained high quality of life. This has been brought to fruition here at 4400 Grove. We've got about a dozen CHA team members out here who are packaging up new cloth masks for our seniors. So we have about 10,500 seniors in our 55 senior buildings, and we're giving them all new cloth masks. And this is just an example of the spirit, the team spirit that we have here at CHA for helping our seniors and our most vulnerable residents be prepared to protect themselves from this pandemic. It's also an example of just the work that CHA does every day for all of our families, all of our seniors, all of our children. And we hope that this is just one small gesture that we can make to honor seniors and the life that they live and our care for them.
What we're doing here today with filling all of these backpacks with brand new school supplies, they will go to children who live in CHA housing throughout the city so they can be best prepared to start the school year this fall.
This is just a great show of support by our CHA staff members who are out here to put backpacks together for our students. We have 19 staff members out here. We're putting together 1,000 backpacks, and this is an example of the work that we do every day.
Every year we've been fortunate enough to have a big back-to-school event at Brookfield Zoo, which of course this year we weren't able to do. So through the fundraising efforts of CHA's nonprofit partner, Springboard to Success, we were able to raise the money to provide more than double the number of backpacks that we typically provide at our annual back-to-school events.
Well, as a mother, my daughter's in her 20s now, but I still remember that when August came, it was the time to get excited about going back to school. The supplies are just one part of it, getting ready, thinking about education, thinking about school, thinking about seeing their friends. It's such an important part of our children's experience. And so while we're excited to put together these 1,000 backpacks, we know that there are going to be 1,000 children that are even more excited about getting them.
The Summer Food Service Program is a program which provides nutritious meals to youth. Normally it would be 18 and under, but due to COVID-19, we will distribute a meal to a youth, an adult, a teenager, or anyone that comes to receive one. So actually it's called a grab and go program this year. Residents can come pick up a meal. If they tell us they have 2 children in their household, then we will give them 2 meals. Employment and Employer Services, they're responsible for the employment component. The Greater Chicago Food Depository is responsible for the actual meal service. CHA makes sure that the sites are up to par. We make sure that they're clean, we make sure that they're sanitary, and those efforts are in conjunction with our property office department. The nutrition aides have training through the Greater Chicago Food Depository. They have training through Employment and Employer Services, just to make sure they're aware of, the safety food handling processes. This program is important to the community because all the kids need nutritious meals. Some of the kids are used to the meals that they receive in public schools, but public schools is out right now. Some of them are open for summer school, but that's limited. So we just want to be that supplement to the year-round lunch program.
And despite these unusual times, heading off to college can still be a very exciting time for new freshmen.
Such was the case for more than 100 students who grew up in public housing. The CHA held its 10th annual Take Flight College Send-Off. And among those who participated, a student about to make her lifelong dream come true.
A coronavirus-style send-off for college-bound students.
What school are you going to?
Millikan University.
Chicago Housing Authority students were celebrated today for scholarships they applied for and won.
These are freshmen. We have 150 packages for them. It includes all the things they need to start college.
It's sort of a dream come true for me.
A dream to go to Harvard University. Anicia Miller was just 10 years old when her mother planted a seed. Miller spent part of her childhood living on Harvard Avenue on the South Side.
So my mother always instilled in me that I can go from Harvard Avenue to Harvard University. So it's been sort of my life motto and what's pushed me through schooling.
Miller is one of 150 public housing students being celebrated today for their dedication to education.
We raised over $100,000, and we're using this to support these freshmen as they go off to college, for many of which they are the first-time college attendees for their families, but also being role models for their community.
Anicia Miller graduated from St. Ignatius College Prep and she has big plans at Harvard.
I plan on double majoring possibly in biomedical engineering and neuroscience. Yeah, so my ultimate career goal is to become a biomedical engineer and create prosthetic devices, particularly for children, because one of the biggest issues in the field is that prosthetic devices aren't able to grow with the patient.
Well, she is just fabulous, and I'm sure we have not heard the last of her. So glad to hear from her. Harvard will be 100% online in the fall, so Miller will still be at home, but she is still looking forward to interacting with her classmates, even remotely. Today's event was sponsored by CHA's nonprofit partner, Springboard to Success.
Congrats to all of them.
Isn't that great?
Exciting, yeah.
I know, it's awesome.
This is the 10th year that CHA has been working with the Chicago Police Department on this program. When we talk about community policing, it's about relationships. And for our youth to understand what's happening with the police, how they do their jobs, and for the police to build the relationships with members of our community. That includes the youth, but it's everybody in our community understanding what our motivations are and how we're all about living together. That's what makes these kinds of programs extremely important.
We have a team of officers who love to work with teenagers, who love to work with kids, who love to see them thrive and grow. We provide them an opportunity to talk to several different professionals. We have professionals that come out and host workshops. So we give them a broad view of different types of professionals that they can go into, different college paths that they can take, different trades that they can take, because every person is going to have a different path.
Well, I joined it in the first place because as a kid I always wanted to be a police officer. So seeing this program, I obviously enlisted in it because working with officers, especially because of my profession, will just give me more insight, especially working with officers. And I started coming back because of the relationship and bonds that you can build with your peers and the officers themselves.
A lot of times we speak at kids and not necessarily listen to them and hear their voices. They're going to be the voice of our future, and they're going to be able to change a lot of things. I can't service a community and protect a community if I don't have a vested interest in that community, and what better way to have a vested interest in the community than through our youth voice.
What's important to me is that they actually want to hear my voice and hear what I have to say, because youth, all voices need to be heard.
We were chosen teens to speak up because other teens can't. And I see that as a great opportunity because now we're the voice for our generation. Now we're making our mark on the world, and I think that's just amazing.
Our current environment, our current place in the world, where we are at such a point of contention of thought within our city. It's important that we have these common understandings and these common things where we grow from. It's through that where we can discover the solutions that we're going to need for tomorrow. So this is absolutely necessary. It's more important than ever.
Young people get an opportunity to see police for what they are. They get a chance to not just see the uniform, but the person that's in the uniform, get an opportunity to engage with the police officers, and also the police officers get a chance to engage with our young people.
Because not only were they learning, but they were also building new friendships. And we hope to provide more opportunities for them to continue those friendships in the future, as well as to support them in pursuing their dreams.
What's the inverse operation of multiplication? Drop it in the chat.
So you look at the word and you see it, and then it goes to your brain. Isolation quickly overwhelms me.
Isolation quickly overwhelms me. Begging for forgiveness, a falling hand.
Our first operation is multiplication. Our second operation, I'm going to put that in green. Our second operation is addition.
Right? And so every time, every moment is that time to make that life that you want. And nothing is beyond you.
How do you find a way to stay adept and grounded in whatever you're focusing on at that time?
Because, the way I work it, I'm a conceptual artist. It's an idea first. And sometimes an idea comes to you and you can have 7 ideas.
I wrote episode 3, but I got some jokes through in episode 6. And I got some storylines in episode 8.
Documentaries document a person's life when they're so far into life that they can take a look back and take you back to their life.
My hopes for the future will be to continue to go to school to receive my PhD. I would like to become a surgical nurse or rescue nurse. I am highly committed to accomplishing my goal. I will remain focused and have faith within myself to be successful in life.
The Chicago Housing Authority has $250,000 in scholarships to award to 250 students. WBEZ's Natalie Moore reports.
Brianna Bussell first got a $1,000 CHA scholarship in 2015 as a student at Eastern Illinois University.
It may not seem like a lot of money, but when you don't have much money, obviously it's a lot. And that CHA scholarship basically took that burden off of me and put a little extra money in my pocket so I can buy things I may have needed, like books.
She got the scholarship 4 years in a row. The application period opens today. CHA's nonprofit partner, Springboard to Success, supports the scholarship. Natalie Moore, WBEZ News.
Our commitment here of the project-based vouchers will make it possible for 24 families from our waiting list to have stable housing. It will also make it possible for those who were here at Cabrini Green before to return, and they will have preference on these units.
So this is a development that's going to give folks housing, affordable and CHA, but also is going to give folks an opportunity to work.
This commitment to affordable housing at this site never wavered, and due to your early insistence, became the blueprint for the ARO ordinance and later the pilot zone ordinance.
And so we are really proud to be part of this groundbreaking today, that it's taking the city another step towards its ambition to be a more inclusive and equitable city.
We're really excited to be part of this project. This is going to be an apartment building where if you earn $22,000 a year, you can live here. And if you earn $100,000 a year, you can live here. That is a vision for not just this neighborhood, but really the whole city, the whole state.
When we complete projects like this, we're making it possible for the families, low-income families, and children who live in these communities to walk tall and envision greater for themselves.
I just wanted to say good morning to everyone and just tell you, I'm as happy as a kid in a candy store on today. We're so excited about the Jobs Plus program coming here to the Dearborn homes, and we're just so grateful.
The Dearborn residents will be provided services and connected with employer linkages, job placement, financial literacy, and as they strive to increase their wages.
This is all about providing great partnerships, whether it's between the federal government and our partners at CHA, but also the CHA's partnership with local service providers and local employers. I think it's really, really important.
We focus on economic empowerment through employment. That is the bottom line. What we recognize is that in the absence of meaningful work, we cannot support ourselves, we cannot support our families, and we cannot sustain and develop our communities.
I support this initiative. I think it's important to have local organizations that can help provide services to people and get them ready for employment.
Because what we're building here is a culture of work. But more importantly, we're building the pride that comes from work and from providing for your families and for children's growth. And so I want to thank everybody who's involved in this and everybody who will contribute to this over the next 4 years to make this possible.
So today we've actually partnered with our amazing partners, Chicago Housing Authority, to have a give back with clothing and just celebration for those that are rebuilding their careers and jumping back into the 2021 year to really get their year kicked off with being their best version of themselves.
I have seen lots of smiles, lots of interest. Grateful families saying, we really appreciate CHA doing this, and CHA is grateful for the ability to partner with folks like the Daisy Foundation to make this happen.
I found some pretty decent sweaters and a pair of shoes, which I need. I took advantage of it because I don't really shop for myself too much. So like, since this is free, I decided to go ahead and get me some new stuff.
Well, today I'm picking up a few items for an interview and a couple of casual items as well. Our experience was very helpful, pleasant people. Yes, I definitely got what I needed.
I want to thank the CHA employees who volunteer for this event. While we have staff who are employed to support families, we also have a number of CHA employees that step up when we have events like this to make sure that we can serve multiple families.
When you have an amazing outfit on and it's brand new, because all the items are brand new, you feel better about yourself. You feel confident, and it exudes from the inside out.
I wanted to apply for the funds. In the effort to do that, I really need a POS system to automate my business. I'm still using guest checks and old cash registers, so a POS system would help me out a lot.
I plan on using the money to upgrade equipment, to get like better equipment and supplies to fight against the COVID.
This grant will help with the playground that we're doing for the kids to make it a bit safer, provide for social distancing, PPE equipment, and basically playground safety equipment and toys and things for the kids.
We know that your family depends on your success, and we know that your community depends on you for jobs and services. And we value your contributions and applaud you for serving as a role model of what's possible for our youth and others in our community. So thank you and congratulations.
And what we do is we meet with young students between the ages of 14 and 20, and we assist them with anything as far as like scholarships, financial aid, college applications.
Utilizing those job boards, which I mentioned, again, Career Builder, there's tons of other ones out there. There's specialty ones as well, so keep that in mind. So let's say you're a marketing major, there will be marketing job boards out there.
Or use every resource you're available, because again, eyes on the prize, and that's graduation, because that's the beginning of the rest of your life.
The Chicago Housing Authority is offering more than 250 college scholarships of $1,000 each to help students living in public housing. WBBM's Jim Good has talked to a past recipient. He's live on the Newsline with the story.
Keith Cheese Brianna Bissell, who had already enrolled at Eastern Illinois University to study web.
Commissioners just finished meeting in the closed session, and we're ready to start this session. The board secretary will now call the roll.
Commissioner Brewer,
Here.
Commissioner Chico,
Here.
Commissioner Harris,
Here.
Commissioner Hart,
Here.
Commissioner Matenki,
Here.
Commissioner Parker,
Here.
Commissioner Tanukas,
Here.
Commissioner Washington,
Here.
Commissioner Hurlock.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Lee. Commissioners, minutes for the November 17th, 2020 meeting were presented and reviewed at our last meeting. However, no vote was taken. Another copy of the November 17th minutes, in addition to the January 19th minutes, was included in your meeting materials. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the regular and closed meetings for November 17th, 2020 and January 19th, 2021? Is there a I'm sorry, can I have a motion?
So moved. So moved.
Wonderful. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any opposed votes, recusals, or abstentions? Hearing none, the minutes are hereby approved as submitted. During the closed session, commissioners discussed item number 7, personal action reports. Are there any further questions or comments from commissioners on item number 7? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve item number 7?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed votes, abstentions, or recusals? Hearing none, the motion carries and the resolution for item number 7 is approved. If there is no more business to come before the board, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Please consider the meeting of March 16th now adjourned. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, everybody. Again, Dan.